us, because we are here for you, and if we don't know what is that you want, the physical non-contact has been a problem, because we are not usually, whenever networking meeting used to happen, all the board members used to go around the members, ask them, get a feedback, and then prepare ourselves. Many of our programs now have been done based on whatever we get to know, or we ourselves decide that this would be the most appropriate thing for our members. So at the end of the program, as Sheshu was mentioning, there would be a networking opportunity where you can reach out to each of the board members and share your thoughts. There's another thing that the market has reached 50,000, and on the hindsight we do realize that we also did a program on financial planning for our members, because that also we felt that it's a part of our responsibility to share things around us which is important. Today's topic is face the future, and it's an evergreen topic. And the bottom line is what we do today for our better future tomorrow. I think that's important for all of us to realize. That are we doing enough? Is there something I can do to make my future better? Now, many a times we do realize that I think 70% of us must be parents, and we do tell our child that you should plan well, this is what you should do, and do we do that for ourselves? Do we have no, I'm not saying this for everyone. I just the thought is coming to me. Do I take stock of my current position and then say that where do I want to see myself 5 years from now? Where do I see financially 10 years from now? And we all know that learning is a continuous process, whether it is within the organization, during your job, or otherwise. And that dawns upon us the responsibility of actually, because that's accountability, responsibility, and ownership, whether it is professional or personal life, is key. Am I doing enough to ensure that I'm responsible towards my family? Am I doing enough to ensure that my future is better, my future is safe? So professionally, there are things that we need to do to ensure that we take the challenges which comes across a few years from now. And today we have a very interesting topic. Two speakers are going to speak on this, and frankly, I'm also looking forward to both of them speaking. And the second one is where we are asking our members to come forward and share their areas of expertise. I think that's a very good thought that at the board a few of the directors suggested, and we felt that that's a nice way of actually ensuring that we create future faculty members, future speakers within our chapter who can take sessions as we go along. So Seshu, thanks a lot. I hand over to you, and as you said, looking forward to today's session.
Thank you, Madhav Reddy Garu, for your warm welcoming words and also sharing the wonderful thoughts. So guys, I guess we all are charged up now with the wonderful comments from the chapter president, right? I know it's the weekend and some of us would have just woke up. Let's smell the coffee and keep ourselves awake for the rest of the session. I know, of course, coffee first and the schemes are later, right? So stay tuned, guys. There are more to come. And now I welcome the PMIPCC Member Outreach Team Director, Suma Murthy, to share the chapter updates. And she is one of the director of chapter carrying 19 years of experience in varied industries. She is very organized, meticulous, and a warm person to interact with. It's my personal experience too, because I work under her. So while working on PMIPCC initiatives, she just enjoys the networking with members and chasing for timely delivery with all the passion and commitment. That should be bolded because you're always behind me. So Seshu, did you do this? Did you do that? Right? So Suma, I'm so sorry. This is the only time I could pull your legs. So all yours, Suma. Please go ahead and give the updates.
Thank you so much, Seshu, for that warm welcome. And a very good morning to all members and a very happy new year too. This is the first time that we get to interact on a public platform. That's why I'm telling you a very happy new year. In person, on video, 23 days later. Okay. I'll be just sharing the chapter updates over the last quarter, what we have been up to. And of course, it's been heartening to know that quite a few of the members have been participating actively in all these activities. So to talk about the chapter, most of the seniors would have heard a lot about this slide ever since they joined the meeting. However, for the benefit of all the new people here, we, the PMIPCC chapter, we are one of the fastest growing regions and chapters in the area. We started in 2001 with 25 members. That's the minimum that with which you can start a chapter. And now we are glad to say that we are 1,300 people. That's a wonderful achievement from the chapter for all the members, and it's all due to you. We are governed by a group of 10 volunteer leaders coming up from the members itself. We are having a lot of professional activities and several initiatives that are being coming up soon. Now, what you see on the screen is the chapter board. The group of 10 volunteer leaders who are currently serving you in each of the portfolios. Madhav, you saw him just now, leads the chapter as the president. Mr. Venkat Reddy, the vice president. Komal is the secretary general of the chapter. Bhaskar, the finance director, as well as director for PMIES. Monica heads the social media as well as the chapter communications. So that's me, into the chapter membership. Manohar, into the chapter academy. Sita, looking into the volunteering activities of the chapter. Sairam, the DA champion, as well as Saujanya, who is hosting the session in the background, is the business development as well as heads some of the social good activities of the chapter. Next slide, please. This is a snapshot of what 2020 looked like if you're looking at just one slide. 1,300 members, unheard of number in the chapter history. And it is incidental that we made this number during the 20th year of our existence. And as Madhav said, we topped the R11 region, that is all the 9 chapters within India, as well as Sri Lanka and Bangladesh, in the retention rates as well. We have done major events during the activities during the last quarter of the chapter, and we have had so many volunteering activities and training hours clocked. Next slide, please. That shows the numbers over the last 6 years. 2014, we started with 1,098. Even in 2019, we were 1,053. And then we ended 2020 on a grand note of 1,353 members. Thank you so much, members, for sticking to the chapter and leveraging on the benefits. So in the last quarter alone, we have had 223 members and 150 new credential holders joining the chapter. Next slide, please. This is a snapshot of all the credential holders. Needless to say, the PMP credentials tops the list. Next. These are the industries where our chapter members come from. If you see the financial services, construction, energy, healthcare, aerospace, these top the list after IT. Of course, we have been doing a lot on the IT side, but going on, we are looking at, next slide please, starting the industry-specific group. This initiative started last year, and we are glad to say we have had many people who have registered for the industry-specific group. And I hope, guys, you are joining in for the 31st January industry-specific groups kickoff meet. If you have not joined in, please feel free to reach out to any of our members. We'll share the link, and we'll look forward to joining us. Next. This, I'm sure you are connected to all our social media channels through your network. Some are on LinkedIn, some are on Facebook, some are on all. And I would encourage you to join the Telegram group if you have not joined in, because that's where the hub of the communication is. So we are 800 plus members on Telegram, and we are looking forward to anyone who else has not had a chance to join. Please join in. Next slide, please. The last weekend, we had the new members orientation meet. We do this every quarter. So I'm glad that some of the members who joined as new members are participating in the network meet as well now. Welcome again, guys. Next slide, please. This is a unique initiative that you must have seen the mails as well as the social media communications on. This is a way in which we can get to know our members. Each one member, one step or one time. Every Monday, we feature a new member. You must have seen long-time members, veterans, and you must have seen the newest members as well. So we encourage you to join this Member Monday series, send in your videos, and we'll look forward to knowing you more. Next. Many of you would have been a part of Spandana, been featured in Spandana, as well as had a read of the previous editions of Spandana as well. The last one was released in August, the Independence Day edition, that's right in the middle. And now the 20th year anniversary edition of Spandana is out. And you'll be glad to know that we have had special articles as well as interviews on top-notch people in the industry. So grab or look at, right now you see the links of the Spandana being displayed in the chat window. Please feel free to save it and then have a read. Next. These are the kind of member engagement sessions that Madhav had been talking about. Last quarter, we did a couple of knowledge sharing sessions on leadership as well as program management, masterclasses on AI, as well as managing difficult situations at work. So we try to balance different topics. Some are on strategy, some are on leadership, some are on technical aspects as well. Next slide, please. Many of you, I'm sure, would have attended the Common Ground Symposium that was there on November 21st and 22nd last year. Every year we have something which is a conglomerate of all the chapters. One conference, we had the 2019 National Conference, which Hyderabad chapter hosted. But in 2020, since we were on the virtual mode, PMI India decided that we will have a virtual conference which takes into account all the chapters. That's known as the Common Ground Symposium. Next slide. And on 5th and 6th of December, I'm sure you have attended the largest ever Disciplined Agile Conference. It was co-hosted with the Kerala chapter. The first day was by the Kerala chapter and day 2 was hosted by the Pearl City chapter. Next slide, please. We have had several stalwarts who had joined us for this. We had a panel discussion as well as Ask Me Anything that was moderated by Venkat Reddy, our Vice President, as well as Sairam moderated the Q&A session with the founders of Disciplined Agile itself, Scott Ambler and Mark Lyons. Next slide, please. PMIPCC has been collaborating with several institutions and organizations. Recently, Heidspin conducted its annual conference, that is incidentally marking the 25 years of existence of Heidspin, and PMIPCC was a major supporter to this as well. Next slide, please. We had the members' annual general body meeting also on October 31st. I'm sure many of you would have joined this event as well. Next slide. On December 3rd, we commemorated the International Day of People with Special Needs. We did an event in collaboration with Ashray Akriti, an NGO which is known for supporting the speech and hearing impaired folks. And it was wonderful that Dr. Sai Kaustav Dasgupta was the chief guest, and he has inaugurated the project management basics book in the sign language as well. So this is a wonderful initiative. Next slide, please. Coming on to the project management for students. We have tied up with several institutions in the past as well, but during the last 2 months, we have had 25 students of National Academy of Construction join in the PMIPCC membership. Welcome, guys, if you're on the network meeting today. And recently, we conducted a session on VIM by Mr. Nagaraju Jupaka for these students as well as the forum. And the newest baby on the block to join the Project Management Student Forum is NIT Rourkela. The PMIPCC has been formed at NIT, and we are looking forward to conduct more and more activities on this. Next step, please. We have been collaborating with TechieMax. It's one of the organizations where we are looking at conducting PAPM trainings for many of the students as well as freshers. We just signed an MOU with them, and we will be looking forward to many activities and events in the coming months. Now, looking at the professional development activities, the PMIPCC Academy. This is the entire portfolio of activities that we are looking at. Virtual engagement workshops. We are already applied for the authorized training partner, ATP, and we will be conducting the trainings under the ATP soon. We are going to start the disciplined agile workshops as well. We just finished off 2 pilot sessions or programs on disciplined agile, and now we are going to start the open programs or the public programs full scale. And now the ever sought after the exam prep buddy program. That is where we pair in the mentors and the mentees to help them prepare for the exam prep. Okay, next slide, please. This is a snapshot of the activities that have been done by the Academy during the last quarter. PMP certification workshops, refresher workshops, advocacy and consultancy for granules, 2 pilot workshops completed, that's what I was speaking about. New proposals we have submitted to the corporates, 75 plus PMP aspirants tagged to 30 plus buddies. That's the PMP Prep Buddy program, my dear friends. And we have had 100 plus PMPs certified from the chapter in December. And now the plans thereof. The ATP application is in progress, disciplined agile workshops. For many of you, I saw them asking on Telegram. During the first week of February, we are going to begin the open program. The PMI ACP program is planned in the 3rd week of February, and PMP refresher in the 2nd week of February as well. That's a typo, Jan. Next slide, please. This is the disciplined agile workshop announcement. You may choose depending on which stage you are, the disciplined agile scrum master or disciplined agile senior scrum master. These are the oft requested programs. The link to these programs is given in the chat box. Please feel free to register. Next slide, please. Volunteering has always been one of the major attractions why a member or why a person joins the chapter as well, giving back, networking. So right now, we can boast of 150 volunteers at the chapter, and many of them being active at given point of time. Different sectors have different volunteering opportunities. And we are glad to say we have 9 volunteer program managers who have risen to these ranks by being active volunteers of the chapter. Next slide, please. These are the list of open positions or the volunteer positions at the chapter. Once you go to vrms.pmi.org and you search for the chapter activities, you'll be finding these activities. So the link to these activities will be provided in the chat box. Thank you, Sita, for providing the link. And when you look at the volunteer dashboard, 18 opportunities, 120 active volunteers, and 1,500 plus hours of volunteer hours or activities clocked. Isn't that the massive activities going on, folks? Next step, please. The social good activities is a completely different wing. We look at academia, business, as well as the social good. So when we are talking about the social good, the PMIPCC has collaborated with NIRD, National Institute of Rural Development, and SERA, that is the Sustainable Eco-Friendly Rural Areas. There are several projects that have been taken up by this initiative. SERA is an NGO that has been working with NIRD as well. And recently, our volunteer team has been recognized on the occasion of the SERA Foundation Day. And we have a group of volunteers actively involved in each and every activity. That is Rajeshwari, Mohan Kumar, Vijay Yamuna, Narendra Kumar, and Neeraj Gupta, led by Saujanya. And even our volunteers got an opportunity to share the stage with the Vanapati District Collector, Yasmin Basha, as well as the NIIT former director, Mr. W.R. Reddy as well. So a lot of activities going on different segments. Friends, please have a look at all the links that are being posted on the chat window, and we will definitely look forward to you looking at different engagement activities. So that sums up my chapter update. And do we have some time for questions, Ritu, or would we want to take that up in the last?
Yes, Uma. So, guys, whatever questions you'll have, feel free to reach out to us at the network session, which we have it at the end of the network meeting, so that we will get it addressed. In case if any questions are missed, don't worry, please feel free to post it in the Telegram group so that our respectful portfolio members would address them. And
thank you.
So thank you, Suma. Thanks for the wonderful updates. And guys, I guess that was really a good year in 2020 where we have achieved so many things regardless of the pandemic. And I guess we really need a shoulder tap for that, right? Shabash. So this is all possible only with your contribution, love, and the support to the chapter. And guys, it's my heartfelt congratulations to all the volunteers who really supported and led the success towards by ending the 2020 in the positive note, even after the code is playing with us for 2020. So let's thank you so much. Thanks for the updates. And yeah.
Thank you.
So when I was thinking about the theme today, the future. So the future always belongs to those who believe in the beauty of their dreams, right? So there are like many startups have been transformed into some of the most impressive and admired brands today. And due to the hard-working and cohesive teams, when teams share and respect each member's thoughts and differences, they stand a greater chance of being more cohesive and successful together, right? So let's pursue excellence together. Let's make art. Let's build the ability to deal with the future. So let's be our best selves, guys. So it's like, let's try a new thing. Never be afraid to try something new, guys. So remember, amateur build the ark and professionals build the Titanic. Let's think the Titanic. So let's join with me to welcome Kamil, who is working with UCB as a director and the program management lead. He's an award-winning program leader with strong communication skills and strategic long-term view, enabling the connection between strategy and implementation. He's more passionate about coaching, mentoring, and leading teams to reach their full potential through implementing complex organizational projects. And he's recognized for his outstanding leadership and PM excellence by both IPMA and PMI. So Kamil, we welcome you for the network meeting today. So now the dice is yours. Please go ahead.
Thanks so much, Seshu. Can you hear me?
Yes, Kamil. Yeah, we could hear you. We could see you. Yeah.
Perfect. So I'm going to just share my screen here. So thanks so much, Seshu, for giving me the control. And I'd just like to say how honored I am to be here with all of you so bright and early. For those who think it's bright and early in India, I'm based in Belgium, and I've been up since 5:30 a.m. with the team, just because I'm so excited to be here and be able to take this opportunity to share with you some insights and some knowledge that I've gained through my professional years of experience. Just a quick technical check. Can you guys see my screen? Seshu or anybody?
Yes, yeah, we could see your screen.
Perfect. So let's jump into it. So as Seshu mentioned, I've been around a little bit in the project management community. Project management is something I care about and I'm very deeply passionate about. And I've been quite honored and lucky enough to attain certain recognitions within the field. And as somebody who's still, let's say, relatively young, that propelled me to a lot of really interesting opportunities to connect with the leaders in project management, to connect with different project management communities around the globe. And through those experiences, I've been able to tap into some really interesting thoughts about what does project management look for the next generation? What is important and what is so pivotal for us to learn about as we progress in our careers as project managers? And how can we be the best forms of ourselves as project managers? And so that inspired me to put together this presentation. And I have to say this presentation isn't just my own effort. I've worked on it with Antonio Nieto Rodriguez, who's the former chairman of PMI. He's also based here in Belgium, just as I am. So it's really lucky that he's here because we share ideas, we connect. We before the pandemic hit, we'd see each other a lot for a lunch and coffee and just try to hammer out some of these ideas in terms of where is the project management world going. And we've kind of pinpointed 3 areas. And these areas, are just some thoughts. They're not exhaustive. I'm happy to hear what other people think. But it's just this is just really a taster of what we were thinking, because eventually what we'd like to do is take these ideas and put them into a book or a publication of some sort so that we can share it more broadly with our networks. So those 3 things that we should focus on as project managers are: number 1, navigate change; number 2, activate leadership; and number 3, orchestrate your ecosystem. So let's try to jump into some of those thoughts and build up the story of how to become the best form of project managers that we can be. I'd like to start with this picture. It's a surfer who is surfing in the water. And in the water, there's a lot of uncertainties and unknowns. There are sharks. The waves can be rough. There are obstacles that the surfer must face. But the surfer loves what he does. So similar to us as project managers, we embark on projects. We embark into uncertain areas. We don't know exactly what challenges will confront us because we are venturing into a space of risk and uncertainty. But just like the surfer who is focused on meeting his goal, on getting to shore, we do the same. Using our skills, our abilities, and our behaviors as project managers, we drive to complete the projects. And just as a surfer can say, sure, it's dangerous in the water, but my fear from not making it to shore is greater than my fear of the sharks. Just as us, our fear of not reaching our objectives should be greater than the fear of all of the unknowns that we confront. And the landscape that we operate in is quite challenging. When we look at the world as it is today, the pandemic has threatened the way we work, has put forward a new normality of collaboration and of just interacting. There's technological changes that are accelerating and challenging business models. There's economic challenges that we're going to face in terms of the recession. There is just so much out there in terms of challenges and uncertainties. But then again, there's a lot to focus on to be able to bring in those products and services that are the outcomes of our projects. Just to emphasize the point of uncertainty again, in terms of in which business landscape and project management landscape do we operate, I'd like to use the following expression. It's called the Dacry expression to explain it a little bit. And the DACRI expression highlights that the world is diverse, ambiguous, complex, rapidly changing, and interdependent. When we talk about diversity, we talk about operating in working environments where we have 5 different generations coexisting side by side. We're talking about diversity from a multicultural perspective where we connect, and just as evidence of today's session, a guy from Belgium connecting all the way across the world to share experiences. That's a very culturally, let's say, diverse experience. Ambiguity. By that we mean there's so much data out there. We're living in a big data world, and being able to make sense of that is a challenge. How do we take data, transform it to information, get it all the way up to knowledge, and eventually to wisdom on which we can make sound business decisions? Complexity. Take a look at your typical PESO. If you did a PESO 20 years ago in project management, or maybe 30 years ago, you probably wouldn't be confronted with the multitude of transversal complexities that we see today. We are more interconnected than ever before through the wonders of technology, but also it comes to bring challenges in terms of complexity and the different elements that we need to think of as we scan the environment around us as project managers. Rapidly changing. By that I mean just the emphasis on how fast things are moving, how quickly we're seeing business models being threatened because of how technology and the world moves so fast around us. And interdependence. Just look at any product you have in your store, the car you're driving, the salad that you eat at your dinner table. Probably a lot of elements and sub-products of that are coming from different countries or different supply chains. So we're living in really a time of vast global supply chains that are interconnecting the world as we know it, and technology helps in that regard as well. So it may be a bit daunting. I may be painting a bleak picture of challenges that lay ahead of us, but don't get me wrong. However unpredictable the environment may be, it's us as project managers that have this responsibility to deliver projects that will bring benefits to society and generations to come. So it's us as project managers that can really make so many great things to help benefit our society and be able to confront the challenges that lay ahead. And the Project Management Institute recently published, the 50 projects that are the most influential projects of the year, and that just comes to reinforce that we are the ones who are really making these dreams possible as project managers. And it's just a great initiative to hammer that home, that it's projects that deliver the dreams of society. Now, when it comes to navigating change, I'd just like to reemphasize that we should not fear. It's changes in our DNA as project managers. So given the context that we've just seen that I've presented, it's project managers, I believe, who are best placed to be able to confront the challenges that lay ahead. When you look at any definition of projects or project management, it's always about being able to manage this cycle of change at the project level, running a temporary organization, at a program level, running also a temporary flexible organization driving a strategic objective, and at the portfolio level, of course, portfolios are a more permanent system, but they aim to drive the balance between running the business and changing the business, again, embedding this notion of change into the organization. And change is so important. I'd like to just reemphasize how fast the pace of change is going. And even though it's accelerated in the last, decades, it's been changing ever since history. And this quote from Heraclitus, an ancient figure, sums it up perfectly. There is nothing permanent except change. Change is the only constant. Change alone is unchanging. And here's another more recent quote that I really appreciate that hammers this point home from Jonathan McDonald when he presented at the Vision Critical Summit. Change is the only certainty. Today is the slowest rate of change we will ever experience. Today is the slowest rate of change we will ever experience. So when we look at some of the literature out there, it definitely backs it up. This is a chart from Antonio Nieto Rodriguez's book, The Focused Organization. And here we see as a function of time how 100 years ago, when a project was launched, the business would probably reap the benefits of that project for a longer period of time. Whereas now, we're seeing the paradigm of the number of projects versus the run the business operations structure flipping. So we're seeing more projects with quicker life cycles to realize the benefits. And this is really meaning that our organizations and our societies are using projects as a vehicle to be able to enable change. And this will only get faster as time progresses. Now, as project managers, again, I want to come back to the point that we are equipped not only with a mindset of change and being able to cope with change, we are equipped with solid methodologies to help us drive that change and be able to manage it appropriately. As they say, knowledge is power, and the PM box for us is a wealth of information to help us understand what processes, what knowledge areas, and what phases we have in our guidance manuals to drive a project from A to Z. But that's not enough. It's no longer enough. As we live in this DACRI world, there are so many things that can't be just controlled by adhering to a process. This quote by Donald Rumsfeld really reminds me of that challenge. A few years ago, he said about risks and information they got on the field during their I think it was one of the it may have been the Iraq War, but it was Donald Rumsfeld who was part of that administration, and he said, there are known knowns, there are things we know that we know, there are known unknowns, that is to say, there are things that we now know we don't know, but there are also unknown unknowns. There are things we do not know we don't know. And you can think of that with the black swan example. Also, it reminds me a lot of what we're seeing with the pandemic, although some people called the pandemic. That last point is really also resonating with how there was this unknown in a way, and that has totally transformed the way we see things. And I think as we move forward, we're going to be entering into this type of environment where the unknown unknowns are going to be more of a likelihood. So how do we overcome that? How do we prepare ourselves for this world of unknown unknowns? Well, it gets to my second point of the presentation of activating your leadership. If you look to any of the Pulse of the Profession reports since the last 10 years, and I've quoted one here in particular from 2013, they really highlight that it's the leadership skills that enable project managers to manage highly complex projects. Not so much the technical skills, so our methodologies, not so much the strategic business management skills, but really our ability to lead. And so that's going to be a key for us as we move forward into the next generation of project management and try to activate our sense of leadership. And PMI has come up with the town triangle. I hope all of you are familiar with this, because this is really my one of my favorite visual representations of what we need to know and what we need to do in terms of project management competencies development. And it's really important because Another quote from PMI says that 66% of organizations that say that leadership skills are not as teachable, but are most important for early career success. And they say as these technical skills are primarily process-based, so when we go now to the technical skills, they are easier to teach than attributes that some project managers possess. So leadership skills are difficult to teach. So are soft skills. Technical skills are a lot easier. So it's easier to pick up your PMBOK, read it through, understand the knowledge, understand the processes and knowledge areas, and then be able to get your certification. But it's a lot harder to put that in practice, and particularly when we talk about the soft skills and leadership skills. The HR departments and the HR professionals are also validating this point. So what do we do? If we know soft skills are harder to develop and more sought after in terms of being able to successfully manage complex projects, how can we become better project managers and enhance those leadership skills? Well, let me get to that in a few seconds, but just to once again paint the scene and pose a quote onto the PowerPoint presentation here to get you to reflect. Here's a really good quote that I appreciate as well from the U.S. Secretary of Education, Richard Riley. He says, "The top 10 in-demand jobs in the future don't exist today. We are currently preparing students for jobs that don't exist using technologies that haven't been invented in order to solve problems we don't even know are problems yet." So once again, a quote to make us think. The world is changing so fast. There's so much uncertainties. How do we equip ourselves and how do we equip the next generation to be able to tackle these problems? Moreover, many of you probably have seen this article go around. It's by Gardner, who is a big consulting company. In March of 2019, they made a very bold and controversial statement saying that 80% of today's project management tasks will be eliminated by 2030 as artificial intelligence takes over. Basically, what they're saying is that jobs that are more repetitive or administrative in nature, and when we think of our PM profession, such as data collection, tracking, reporting, monitoring and control, and even elements of planning, could be revolutionized and replaced by artificial intelligence. That's scary because it comes to show that the project management profession is not exempt to this wave of artificial intelligence takeover. Just as other industries are facing the challenge, so are we. So the idea is really what can we do to try to avoid being thrown off our feet when this takeover, this replacement starts to confront us. Well, again, my recommendation here is we need to move away from the technical side of project management because it's that technical side that will probably be eaten up first. And by technical side, I mean whatever is process driven, whatever can be done in a standardized and repeatable format. And we need to move into the space of leadership, of understanding the strategic and business acumen, and really find our niche there and be able to exploit that in a more effective way. If you see what the World Economic Forum talks about in terms of skills, it also emphasizes, the points that I'm trying to make here before. The top skills for the workforce of today is complex problem solving, critical thinking, creativity, people management, coordinating with others, emotional intelligence, judgment and decision making, service orientation, negotiation, and cognitive flexibility. Now, if you want to beef up some of those skills, there's a lot of ways to do it. And one of the ways I deeply recommend is to jump into something called the International Competency Baseline. I know it's a PMI event, but I'm going to be fair to the IPMA because they have a great guideline which outlines the important behavioral competencies in addition to technical and contextual competencies needed to be an effective project manager. And actually, this document has been made by practitioners who have brainstormed different ideas and elements and have been able to come up with this very informative and useful document. So because project management, let's say project management EQ, so the emotional side of project management, the emotional intelligence side is really a sum of the IQ, so knowing the knowledge and the processes, but also the EQ, so knowing how you are perceived and how you manage your emotions in this traditional sense of emotional intelligence. And so it's good to be able to understand both and have those support you because it's really a good PM is somebody who is able to effectively manage the IQ side of project management and the EQ side. And we all know about the importance of EQ. You've probably seen the different quotes emphasizing how much more important it is than the IQ, how much it helps in the career path and the career progression of individuals with a high IQ, and how much the business world is talking about the importance of EQ. That all applies to project management as well. And so a lot of people ask me, and this is just a clear takeaway you can take from this presentation. It's how do we boost our EQ? Because again, remember, those soft skills and that leadership is hard to develop, and EQ falls into that category. So how can we as project managers beef up our EQ in let's say a relatively short period of time? Well, number one, I mentioned the ICB, the individual competency baseline. Know the theory. So download that document, put it onto your desktop, and review it from time to time when you're confronted with some more behavioral challenges as a project manager. I mean behavioral, with your team or with stakeholders or conflicts that you may try to resolve. Number two, check your personality. And by that, I don't mean seeing a psychiatrist. I actually mean going out there and doing a personality test that are available, such as Discovery, MBTI, Herman, or the DISC test. If you Google those and Google free personality tests, you can actually get some shorter versions of free tests so that you don't have to pay a corporate license to do the full ones. And the shorter ones are just as good sometimes. They're not the full subset of questions to give you a very pinpointed understanding of who you are and how you're perceived, but they are a snapshot of that. And knowing about yourself, knowing how you prefer to answer these types of personality test questions will reveal to you some inherent attributes that can then help you to understand how you are perceived within a team, how you behave, and what are the preferences of communication. So it's kind of like a self-realization of who you are. So for me, that's a really important thing that you can really do off the bat. And then the third part actually is practice your soft skills through volunteering. And here I'd like to just give a big shout out and a big kudos to the team organizing this event, because they are actually putting into practice this model. They are doing PMI member focused events for you guys so you can enjoy this, challenging their leadership, thinking outside of the box, using virtual tools to try to make the best of this situation. And actually they are putting in place this notion of leadership. And actually I appreciate that so much, and big thank you to you guys, because volunteering has defined my life a lot actually. And for an award that I received in 2013 from the IPMA, it wasn't about the Young Project Manager of the Year that I received then. It wasn't about my professional projects. It was actually about my volunteer projects, where I learned to be really an effective project manager before I was really a solid, let's say, PM at work. Now, for those who also know Agile, and you probably do, Agile is another way to practice service leadership, and volunteering enables a sense of service leadership because it's all about serving a community. Right? But in Agile, Scrum Master is also a person who is serving, who is empowering, who is creating this holistic approach and shared decision-making model. So if you don't have the opportunity to get into volunteer work, what I can recommend is that you jump into some Agile projects and try to take on this role of Scrum Master. And it's service leadership that is so important for the next generation of project management, because we're no longer living in this time of hierarchical leadership. We're living in a time where We expect our leaders to be connected to us, to empower us, to serve us. And this is also changing the traditional notion of this control-based leader. But that's fine, because for those who know the work of Brené Brown, vulnerability, she speaks a lot about it a lot, and it's servant leadership that also embraces vulnerability, authenticity, and it's, I think, the way to go moving forward. Just as Brené Brown said, vulnerability is not weakness, it's the greatest measure of our courage. So the last point I'm going to get to is just orchestrating our ecosystem. This is the last step on the journey. And that's really when you've built up your soft skills, when you've built up your technical skills, you've built up your business acumen, strategic skills, and you're putting it all together. Because it's project managers, in my opinion, that have this ability, that have this inherent ability in organizations to act cross-functionally, to be silo busters, to basically break down the functions and pull all these people together. It's project managers that are at the heart of utilizing skills and competencies that are bringing people together. And for me, project managers are true transversal actors. So you guys have to really give yourself a pat on the back. It's you guys who bring together these cross-functional actors. It's you guys who thrive in uncertainty and lead matrix teams to deliver progress. And it's you guys who act to change the business in implementing strategic portfolio projects. And culture sometimes is difficult to change, but I would love to see project managers more embedded in organizational cultural change initiatives, because every time we kick off a project, because this leadership notion is so much more important nowadays, it's us who role model the types of values we want to see in our team. And if we're able to connect that more to the strategy and to the organizational culture, I think we can make really a true ripple effect across the organization. And here's the tool that can help you get started, also to help kind of map your stakeholders and the purpose of your projects. It's the Project Management Canvas by Antonio Nieto, and I put this here because communication is also somewhere where I think we need to be able to be effective at when we're orchestrating our ecosystem. How? Well, transition from doing the how and the what, from the processes and the knowledge perspective to really the why. And I think that's also a change we need to make, moving from the when and the how to the why, meaning really understanding what our projects and programs are about, why we believe in them, why our company and organization should believe in them, what is the cause and what benefits it will bring. And I think that's also another change we need to make when we want to orchestrate effectively. And just for the sake of time, because I know I'm running a little bit of time, I'm going to jump to my last slide. But here I'm going to stop and conclude. So when we talk about the next generation of project manager, we really talk about this leap, this jump, this transition, whatever you want to call it, from project manager to project leader or next gen PM. And the leap includes moving from discussing deliverables and focusing on the what and the how to communicating with purpose and a meaningful why, from managing resources to inspiring a sense of resourcefulness for your team to do the most with the little they may have, escalating issues to facilitating resolution and using that emotional intelligence also to understand how to resolve conflict and make problems go away. Monitor and control to serving and empowering through a deep form of service leadership, from knowing, so high PMIQ, to empathizing with your team and a high PMIQ, from executing tactically to connecting strategically, and from focusing on the operational to enabling the transformative. And for me, those are the steps and those are the leaps we need to make. And I'm really happy to make these transitions together with you as we progress into the next generation project management. So thank you so much, and I wish you all the best. Really happy to stick around for a few more minutes if anybody has any more questions.
Thank you, Kamil. Thank you for this wonderful session and the knowledge shared to us. So, guys, any questions on the session which is just now completed? Any questions? Please feel free to put it on the chat so that Kamil can address it. And I'm sure, Kamil, this was really an awesome session where it really added a value to us. And I can bold the sentences that this is not only adding value to the people those are under the projects, but also people who are looking to start their career under the project management. And that's the beauty of this framework, right? So no matter people know it or not, some or other ways in their lives they apply these type of principles a lot. I'm sure the people are going to start putting the cognitive ability of putting the solutions in their BAUs. Right.
Yeah, that's for sure. Any questions? Don't be shy. Just throw anything that comes to mind. Feel free to throw in a comment. Feel free to throw in a question about not only the presentation, but if anything else I can help to answer. And I'm really happy to connect with everybody on LinkedIn. So please feel free to shoot me an invite there as well. So I'm really happy to keep this conversation and this discussion going.
Right. So guys, any questions? I guess Rajendra has a quick question. So yes, Rajendra, what is the question? All right, so the question is, Kamil, it's what should the project manager do in these times to keep his team motivated? I guess these times are representing the pandemic.
Yeah, good question. Very good question. Because I don't know about you guys, but because here in Belgium we've been locked down for a few weeks now, and it's not going to stop until March 1st. We're all working from home in my company, and for the last year, since this pandemic has started, we're now virtually working from home, connecting through MS Teams or whatever platforms you use. We don't see each other as regularly on a face-to-face basis, and we're unable to get across a lot of information that is probably more informal in nature. We go from one meeting to another, and then the day finishes, and then we disconnect. And so those informal touch points where a lot of information, progress, stakeholder management is done, has been stripped from us in a way. And I mean the coffee corner session, I mean the chat in the hallway to be able to try to, negotiate or influence your stakeholders. And my answer to your question is really connect more and more often, and try to find informal ways to engage with your stakeholders. Set up 15-minute virtual coffees or a quick touch point or check-in, and just make sure you're continuing your conversation with stakeholders, because project managers, there's a quote out there that say that we should be communicating more than 90% of our time. Therefore, just keep the communication going, and keep connecting more than just the meetings that you have in your agenda. Be proactive to schedule informal touch points.
Right. So Rajendra, I guess that answered your question. And we have another one. Are there any industry-specific trainings or governing bodies for management approach change?
There are, the one that comes to mind is change management from the APMG. So that's a good change management framework. So if you don't know, APMG used to work closely with Prince2. But if you just Google them, Google APMG and change management, you should be able to have a good certification there and a good body of knowledge on change management.
Right, great. So I have a couple of questions too. I could try to pick one in that. So how does this EQ and IQ work in traditional and agile project management?
So EQ for me is, the emotional intelligence. It's the self-reflection, understanding who you are, and also how you control your emotions and how you're perceived to the broader team through your, the way you, are able to manage yourself, right? And so IQ for me is more the PM knowledge that we have, So PMIQ is kind of like the knowledge, of the processes, the methodology, understanding of, the knowledge of project management, whereas the EQ is more the softer side, is knowing about yourself, knowing how you're perceived than others, applying your soft skills in order to effectively, influence your stakeholders as well. And in traditional projects, I guess in the same way it's applied to Agile projects, it's applied on different fronts, right? If somebody is not combining emotional intelligence and IQ, they're not probably doing the right, I don't want to say doing the right things, but they're not probably able to most effectively apply their skills to manage the project, because it's that combination of both of them that we really need in order to drive projects forward. But to answer your question in terms of how it's seen, it's the same as similar to how it's seen in the business world, right? And my explanation of it, especially this one slide where you saw PMIQ, PMEQ, actually it's on the PMEQ side. It's also coming from the ICB that I presented, so the competencies from the ICB. So if you want to learn more about it, there's also a more in-depth explanation on self-management and self-awareness in that book of knowledge.
Right, great. So let's pick up the last question. And guys, whoever the questions are not addressed, don't worry. We will get Kamil addressed in the networking activity at the end. So the last question would be, what will be the future of project management if 90% of today's tasks are done by AI and ML?
Well, the future of project management, when we see that risk around the corner, is this notion of that last slide that you saw. How do we move from project management, where the focus is on managing projects, to project leadership? Because the AI cannot substitute leadership skills. It cannot substitute soft skills for the meanwhile. Let's see what happens. But in the short-term future, midterm future, for me, the way to provide a value to your organization as a PM and move into this concept of next generation project management is to embrace the soft skills, the leadership, the strategic and business acumen, and to of course master your technical skills, but knowing that it's those technical skills and the repetitive processes that are going to be kind of eaten up by AI first. So be in a space as a project manager where you can offer that value, and you don't rely on processes to help you, but you rely on your leadership more than the processes and your ability to derive particular outcomes.
Right. Right. So thank you, Kamil. Thanks for the wonderful session. And so guys, I guess it's the time for us to take a break. So let's loosen up some time and take a break to recalibrate ourselves. So let's go for a break for 5 minutes, and then we'll again join back in the same session.
Kamil, thanks a lot for the wonderful session that you gave. Looking forward to be in touch with you. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Madhav. It's a pleasure to be here, an honor to be with all of you guys. All the best.
Thank you very much.
All right, guys, I guess everybody are back to the session. So I guess everybody are electrified now, right? So let me quickly start the video too. All right, so now it's the time for the members talk. Right, just give me a second. All right, so guys, I guess we are charged up now. So when I was in a break, I was actually looking at a small video from Mahabharata, which I would really love sharing with y'all. I thought of, because it's not the entire Mahabharata, I want to share it with y'all. Don't worry about it. It's just a liner. So where I just heard that one liner which says it's not possible to build a future. But we always think that we are creating a future, but no, we can only make ourselves capable to handle the conflicts or the hurdles which come in our way to success. And facing the future together represents a fresh look at how we support each other to do our jobs and help each other in every aspect of our surprises which life brings us. And successful people are those who associate with people that inspire them, people that challenge them to rise higher, people that make them better, and people that are adding to their growth in one way or another. So what you all have in common is an interest and a passion of being successful by joining hands and working together. So let's welcome Roshan and for the next session here. And he works for an advertising company as a client engagement lead. He also been into business operations and have worked with the Silicon Valley clients in setting up their processes across the world. He's also a PMP and Lean Six Sigma Black Belt certified. And he also have two beautiful qualities, like he's a foodie and also he plays table tennis. Like me, Roshan, I'm a foodie and I play basketball. Like we have two in common. So high five on it. And guys, so I'll leave the session to Roshan, because if I take another minute, he's gonna definitely get sick of me and leave me to Tarla Dalal. So Roshan, all yours, guys.
Thanks, Ashok. Thanks for the wonderful introduction. And yes, as you said, things in common. I would like to say that table tennis, I learned it in the lockdown period, and that became my hobby. So it was
Right.
I was always good at table tennis.
Right.
I just realized, today is a very special day for me. 23rd Jan 2020 was when I became PhD certified, and today is 23rd Jan 2021. So it's like exactly 1 year down the line. I'm here with you all guys, being a part of this PMIPCC networking meet. Another very important event that happened just last year, somewhere close to this date, it was 25th Jan, where I happened to be the first time going to the networking meeting organized by PMIPCC. Though I was with PMIPCC from November 2019, but only it was January 25th when I went to attend my first networking meet. So I feel that today I'm celebrating a 1 year anniversary with PMIPCC. I still remember the first person I met was Mr. Madhav, and I didn't know only after it was announced that Mr. Madhav is the president. So it was a great start to being a part of PMIPCC, and it's been a great 1 year journey with you all guys. So thanks to everyone, each one of you who has ever been in contact with me this last 1 year. You have made a huge impact in my life. So thank you for being with me and helping me throughout this 1 year journey. Before I start my today's session, as I said, I first want to thank you. And today's session, I put up 2 slides, and I thought it will help me to take you through few key points that will help us to walk into a future which we are very uncertain about. I'm not someone who has done a master's or a PhD, but then I have collated few of these points based on my previous experience, based on the experience that I have seen working with other people, how these pointers can help moving us into the future. So I need to share my screen if someone can give me that access, please.
Saujanya has given you.
Your presentation, you can.
I'm not able to share my screen. It's blank. Sajana, will you be able to share it on your computer? Sorry guys for this.
No worries.
So it's very kind of, it goes hand in hand. The topic that I'm going to talk about is how do we move together into the future. And the first thing, we were uncertain that, that things will not work. So it's very unlikely that things that we plan sometimes don't work the way we are planned. And here we are one example right in front of us. Also, talking about the background, it was very late that we had to discuss that, maybe the background has to be shifted. So that's all right. That's how we know that things will change. Future is uncertain, and we are here to adapt as we slowly move. So I would say good afternoon. It's right now 12 noon. Good afternoon, everyone. Thanks for joining in today. And I will be taking you through few pointers that will help us to move into the future together. A usual practice, like we all do when we start a meeting, are you guys able to hear me loud and clear? And are you guys able to see the presentation on the screen? All good, Seshu?
Yes, Roshan, we could see and we could hear you. Yeah.
Thank you. All right, so let's get started. Moving to the first slide. Can please move to the next slide? That topic, and this is the agenda for today. What are the things that will help us to move into the future? 4 points that I thought I can put it down in the next 15-20 minutes that I'm going to speak. Accept that there will be change. Adapt to the change. Networking is the important factor, and that's why we are here today. A lot of participants joining because we believe that networking will be an essential component as we move forward. And then something I have put it together saying it's the we factor. I will keep that till we come to those slides. So we'll go, one after the other. The first one is, when we move to the next slide, is accept. The first thing is that we need to know is that we need to believe in this fact that there will be change. As George Bernard Shaw says that, or he said that, progress is impossible without change. And those who cannot change their minds cannot change anything. If I'm not wrong, each one of us here would have had their farewell in their school days. Remember, we wrote on their scrapbook, we wrote our contact details, our address, and we made a kind of a commitment that we will be friends forever. We will be together, throughout the lifetime. Fast forward today, we look at those scrapbook and we say, oh, where are those guys? We probably know them, but that's where they are, but we are not in touch with them. Why? Things changed. Now, can we become sad about it? No, because we need to have that, the mindset that things do not remain the same. Friendships change, relationships change. I don't know. I was a big fan of Shaktiman. I don't know how many people here watched Shaktiman. We used to enjoy that series, right? We used to be talking about it whenever we used to go out, play games. But today, do we talk about it? No, because why? Everything changes. Our lives changes, our priorities change. Everything in this world either depreciates or it appreciates. There is an appreciating value or it depreciates. Human body, we all know that we don't remain kids, though sometimes we behave like kids, but we are no longer kids. We move from teenagers and to adults and to old age, right? Interesting thing, I'm sure many of us would know that the continents on Earth planet move, right? Just because we feel that everything is static, everything is status quo, we feel that there's nothing happening. But no, hold on. There is something called tectonic plate movement. If you're not aware of it, the position of the continent change gradually. It's a very slow movement, but then it does change. Car value, we all know. We bought car for, say, 10 lakh rupees. Down the line, it will not be the same value. The property that we have, the money that we have, right? There's the inflation coming. I remember my grandparents telling about their salary where it was just in few hundreds and in few thousands. And today, that value of money has gone exponentially different. Did you all know this fact? Did you know all the fact that there's an island called Maldives and it will be disappearing soon? When I was doing a research for this, that how do we move into the future, the first thing that we need to accept that the change will come. I came across this slide, information. Maldives is going to disappear soon. And not just Maldives, there are like 50 different destinations which will no longer be there. So after the pandemic gets over, go ahead and see those beautiful places which may not exist later on. I hope I'm giving someone some kind of a holiday planning post-pandemic. There are advertising methods which changes. Earlier those days, we used to see those slips in a newspaper or a cutting in the magazine, say, hey, we are launching this beautiful product, we are launching this beautiful store. Right now, we don't go into that. The methods of advertising has changed drastically. Me, from a digital background, I've seen how people have literally changed the way we would show the ads. It's no more putting the ads on the billboard or on the big stadiums. It's about digital. We show the ads to the people who know and whom we know they will buy the product. It's not a mass communication going on, but it's a very targeted audience that we need to reach out to. Everything has changed. So the first thing that will help us to move into the future is that we need to accept the fact that the change will come. So the first mantra or the key is that accept that there will be changes. Moving to the next slide. While I was talking about tectonic plate movements, advertising, everything, I thought I'd bring two components here which are very famous in India. People who love cricket, who love football. Do you know these two games? There are many other changes in other games as well, but I was thinking of sticking with cricket and football. Is something which people play in every corner, in every house. There is someone who loves cricket or football. Do you know cricket started with 4 balls per over? The first ODI was played in 1971, and we know how cricket has evolved in moving to 2020 in 2003. I also came across this analysis that the length and the thickness of the bat, also the cricket bat, has also increased over time. Right, and we all know the latest one is the day-night test match with pink ball. Never existed before. Who had ever thought that a match like a test match will be played day and night? Forget about the shortening from 5 days, right? We were thinking that the test matches will be wiped out once T20 has come. But look at the evolution, look at the strategy that they had in place for the audience to be engaged. They had day-night test match with pink ball. Wow, that's something to think about, how people accept the changes in their life. Similarly, in football, pretty interesting. There were no referees. Can you believe it? Till 1871, there were no referees involved. It was the captains who would talk to each other if there was something going wrong. Till 1863, football was, because it was always considered a very masculine game, they felt that kicking down an opponent was a part of the game. So imagine today, if that rule, was there, I'm sure nations would have gone into war, right? Because you cannot even think of kicking down an opponent. Though there is, you get a red card, but you cannot deliberately make that move. And then we know how football committee then formed the FIFA and then now the Premier League in 1992. So what I'm saying is that everything changes. We cannot remain in the status quo, otherwise we will be wiped out. If a test match didn't have to change, probably people would have stopped watching the test match once T20 came up. So accept that there will be change throughout. The next slide. So now that we know that there is change, so what do? Do we just sit back and relax? No, we need to adapt to it. And there's a saying which goes, the art of life is a constant readjustment to our surroundings. Shopping, and I took few of these pointers which I thought is very common with each one of us. I'm sorry if someone is not, fond of shopping, but I thought it's very common to many of us in India, at least. Those days we used to go to shops, the independent stores. Then we moved to going into malls, do window shopping, buy nothing, spend 3 hours a day, or spend like 5 hours a day, buy nothing, come back home. And then came online shopping. Again, I'm not promoting any of these apps. I'm just saying that there are some of these great apps which help you to buy things the moment you remember it. Imagine you're just at 10 p.m. at night and you remember that, hey, I need to buy this particular gadget, right? You don't have to wait till tomorrow and go to that mall and buy it. You have to just take your phone, go to that particular app that you love, buy things. You don't have to get up in the morning or walk down the road to collect your, say, milk packets. There are some great apps like Super Daily, which leaves the milk packet at your doorstep. We need to constantly adapt to these changes that is coming. Communication is changing. I'm sure people like me, when we were in college, we used to see, okay, out of 100 messages, how many messages are pending, and we used to keep that at least 20, 30 messages, so that if at all we have to chat with someone, we will keep that in store, because we knew that after that 100 messages, we will not be able to send anymore. Everything changed. Now, communication became so, it got changed over a period of time, that from 100 SMS to unlimited SMS, but people still don't use that SMS because there have been a lot of other technologies which has come. I did not want to put that WhatsApp there to avoid any conflict or to avoid any, anything from someone that, hey, WhatsApp is banned or if you want to get back. To be on the safe side, I put Signal there, right? So we have seen how things have changed. Now imagine if someone wants to stick with that SMS and not want to adapt to the new technologies. Like we were talking about how people in PMIPCC, they have a lot of communications on the Telegram, right? And if you don't adapt to Telegram, there are chances that we will miss out a majority of the information that is coming to us. So we need to change our lifestyle. We need to adapt to the changes. Be ready, guys, for the, I'll come to the entertainment part later. I'm moving to robotic restaurants. So if you see on the image on the right-hand side down, be ready to be served by a robot. Now, if you are in a mindset that I will not eat anything if a machine serves me, then probably down the line, you will not have anywhere to go and enjoy the meal with your family. Because in China, especially, there have been a lot of restaurants where these robots have started playing an active role in serving food. So what I'm saying is we need to have a change in our mindset, the change in our lifestyle. Remember going to theater? Remember standing the long queue in the theater to buy that ticket for the movie, and then when you reach the window and they say, sorry, the house is full, probably next time when you come back home sad, or probably you watch some other movie which you never wanted to watch, but because you had come out with your family, you had to watch something, right? I hope I am bringing some memories back to you guys today. But now it's all about Netflix. It's all, again, not promoting Netflix. It's all about streaming videos. I can watch movies at my own pace. Like for people like me, I'm sure people like many others, right? My wife likes to watch the movie end to end. But for people like me, I don't want to watch a 3-hour movie at one go. I break it down into 20 minutes. Probably next day I will watch next 20 minutes video and then go on. What I'm saying is, we just, in our advantage, that we can stream the video when we like. We don't have to stick to going to the theater, spending our time in the transport and sitting in the theater. Only thing probably is missing today with Netflix maybe is your popcorn. Go ahead and customize it, because that's what we are here. We need to adapt and we need to change the way we have been living. Take your popcorn, stream the video that you want. And did you know one thing which I forgot, I should be telling it? The viewership of TV is going down drastically. So recently I was getting the news, except in India, but eventually it will come to India as well. The viewership across the world, the TV viewership is going down. People are now moving to these streaming videos. So down the line, you probably may not have a cable television with you to work on, right? So move ahead. And then fashion, we need to adapt to the changes. And I saw a beautiful sentence on internet. It says that dress shabbily and they remember the dress impeccably and they remember the women. So we need to adapt before it becomes too late. And one thing we can adapt is by changing our lifestyle. Moving to the next slide. The second component, how can we adapt to the changes, is by continued learning. I think, sorry for the spelling there. As it says, Henry Ford said, right, anyone who stops learning is old, whether at 20 or at 80. Now that's a sentence. If you want to keep yourself young throughout, keep learning. And we have seen the learning style has changed from blackboard to projector and now to online classrooms. Interestingly, the prerequisites have changed. I'm sure that this was there in the news some time back that you need to be PhDs now to become a professor. So if you don't adapt to these, right, if you are still saying that I cannot have classes online, I cannot afford to get online, I need someone teaching me through the blackboard, chances are that we will go back and we will lag and we will be behind the race. Interesting, during this pandemic, Baiju offered students free access to its app. That's how they adapted to the situation, right? They gave free access to their app and their registered users moved to 50 million. That was like 25% growth happened during the pandemic when Baiju offered the free access. Pretty interesting fact that professionals on LinkedIn have added like 150 million more skills to their profile since COVID-19 hit, from March 1 to October 1. So that's only March 1 to October 1. There'll be more data coming up, but till then it was like 150 million more skills were added. We get happy and satisfied by adding like 2 or 3 certifications, but look at the world where it is going, right? I'm not saying be in the rat race. What I'm saying is continue where we have started. Don't stop thinking that it is enough, because learning will never be enough. No matter how much we learn, there will be some other areas to explore for sure. Moving to the next one. We are all here today in the networking, and as rightly said, there's a famous quote which says, know where you want to go and make sure the right people know about it. So how do we move into the future? First, we need to accept that the change will come. Second, adapt to the changes. And third, if we have to be there successful moving forward, it is the networking which will help you. The era of pandemic taught us the importance of networking. Many people feel and they believe that, the moment I get connected with someone, it is about getting things from them, like getting a job or getting maybe some kind of benefits. But when we look at networking from more of giving and not receiving, it becomes helpful. When I came to PMIPCC, it helped me to give back to the society more, where I became a part of SPANDANA, where I've been a lot of other places like, the Prep Buddy program. Now that helped me to give back to the society, and in turn, I learned a lot of things from other intellectuals who were a part of my team. And that's why I've written it and I've underlined it that PMIPCC is one-stop shop to network. There are other networking areas, networking websites like LinkedIn, and LinkedIn surveys. They rolled out a survey recently, and what they found out was that 84% of the people said that they would be willing to help those who have lost their jobs due to COVID-19. Sometimes we feel that the moment we put the profile open to work, we will be known to the society, but that's what the networking is all about. Dare to show that you are available, dare to show that you are there in the society, make an impact. The only way you can make an impact is by showing the work, the skill set, and how will you show it unless you don't have the friends or the network to show them. So go ahead and do the networking. There are other networking sites that are available. One of them is like Meetup, Zen. Feel free to explore those. But as I said, networking will become key. I'm sure during the pandemic, people those had lost the job, they were so motivated if they would receive a reply from someone saying, hey, you can share your resume and this particular email ID. I saw many posts on LinkedIn that said, if ever we work together and if you need any call or any referral in any of the companies, do reach out to me. Why we need to come to a pandemic situation to reach out to them? Forget the pandemic. Just remember that networking is not just a short term and then we forget the relationship that we have built. It will be a continued relationship. In this group, if someone has got a job because of some referral, ensure that you have a connect with the referral throughout and not just forget the person who has referred you. People who are looking out for jobs, I would say this is the best time to network. The more you network, the more opportunities will come to you. Moving to the next slide. That's where I'm a little late. I'll just take a few more minutes and I'm done. And this is the last thing I was saying, the we factor, the fourth point, as I said. So we accepted the change, we adapted to the change. Now we have done the networking. The last factor which remains is how do we move into the future is by these we factors, the well-being factors that I would say, and those are physical, economic, social, emotional. As the saying goes that you can't control what goes on outside, but you can control what goes on inside. I just recently heard that emotional healing brings your physical healing. So if you're emotionally hurt, you will not be able to work, you will be stressed out. And if you're not physically fit, it will again impact your work. Every one of us want to be financially strong, want to get everything needed for the family. Yes, that is true. But we cannot neglect one part and move to another part. Just like the train that you see on the right side of the image, I believe these are the compartments, the physical, the economic, the social, the emotional. These are the compartments which are joined by our mind or by us. We cannot neglect one compartment, otherwise the entire train that we are planning to move into the future, we might reach the destination, but we might not reach with the entire goal that we had in mind. So if we have to reach there successfully, we have to ensure that all these components play the same priority and we cannot neglect one to achieve the other. So with this, I think we're coming to the end of the session. Just 1 minute, I'll summarize it. That change is inevitable. We need to adapt before it's too late. Networking is important. We factor needs to be taken care of. One example I would like to say is, who knew that, remember the 2 rupee note that we once used to have, the 20 paisa coin that we had, who knew few years down the line, right, a few years behind, who knew that 1,000 rupees note will not be there? Everything changes. We are moving into the world of Bitcoins, the coins which are like unseen, it's not even seen. Things which we hold in a wallet may not even exist in the near future. So we need to be ensured that we adapt to the situation before it's too late. And how do we get the best strategies? By networking and to remain at calm without stress, achieving those results, the we factor will be important to get to. I would love to go to the next slide and say that I want to move to this unknown future together with you. So these are the credentials. This is my email ID. You can please feel free to connect. This is a LinkedIn. You can type in the name with the credentials there, which will show my name right on top then, and the phone number. Please feel free to connect and let's move into this unknown future together, knowing that no matter what remains ahead, we will be successful if we have these 4 components working together. With this, I take a leave from you and it was a great time talking to you guys. Should you have any questions, feel free.
Thank you, Roshan. Thank you. Thanks a lot for this wonderful session. Guys, I guess we have a few questions we can take up. So please feel free to put down your questions in the Q&A tab or else in the chat so that we can pick it up and get it addressed. So in the meanwhile, yeah, Roshan, it was really a wonderful session and I feel that it was really informative and definitely I could say this really added the efficacy in our lives of, it really helps us in adapting ourselves and the points you shared regarding the networking, like people really look out for networking where they can find out few solutions because not all situations are same in everybody's life. So this really helps us a lot. Yeah. So guys, any questions?
Yeah, I think we can move ahead, Seshu, to the next.
All right, great. So, guys, any questions on this? Please feel free to reach out to Roshan so he can address them. So let's move on to the next session of the network meeting. So that is the announcements. So, Saujanya, let's go to the next slide. So yeah, we have the upcoming elections for the PMIPCC Board of Directors, and I guess there are so many emails has been rolled out on it. So and even the link has been shared in the chat by Shravanti. So just with a single click, you'll get all the details regarding the elections. So please feel free to visit the blog and you can download the details from them. Let's move to the next slide. All right, so here the member speaker initiative, which is a part of a PMIPCC, and this is an upcoming session where we believe that there is no wealth like knowledge and no poverty like ignorance. So if your actions inspire others to dream more, learn more, do more, and become more, so you are a leader, right? So PMIPCC always believes in knowledge sharing. So we host various events like conferences, symposiums, knowledge sharing sessions like masterclass to broaden and upskill the knowledge horizon. So we are looking for speakers for our various member engagement activities from our members. So this is the time, guys. Please get to the site. If you think you have the knowledge to share, please feel free to fill the form and share us a 2 to 3 minutes of your video so that it could be shared among the board where it will be evaluated with certain criteria, and you'll be getting a slot to become a speaker. So why to wait? So just pick up the mic and share your knowledge, guys. So I request Suma to give us a few words on this. So Suma, are you there?
Thank you, Seshu. This member speaker initiative, we thought we will reach out to more and more members together to get the speakers from the member base itself. Until now, we have been looking outside for the speakers, and sometimes when the member came out by themselves to volunteer as a speaker, we used to include in the sessions and other things. Now, you have seen it in action today. Roshan, one of our PMIPCC members since the last 1 year, has grown as a volunteer as well as a member, and now he's a speaker in our network meeting as well, and Seshu as well. So when we were brainstorming regarding the activities that we could bring to the members, we thought let's get all our speakers right from the members themselves. So we will be sending out an email with a registration form wherein you could submit your videos. If you're a first-time speaker, just shoot a 2 to 3 minute video on any topic which you'd like to speak on at any of the chapter forums. And if you have been speaking at several other forums, just give us some snapshots about the speaker engagements that you've had earlier. And last but not the least, if you would like to recommend a speaker, you still have the owner, you may send in their, description as well as profile so that we can evaluate it. So this is your chance, guys. You have already a platform where you could unleash your speaking abilities. So we'll look forward to more and more speakers from the member base itself. Thank you, Seshu.
Right. Thank you, Suma, for the insights. So let's move on to the next slide. So yeah, we have the PDO information here. So soon after the sessions, we'll be sharing the PDO information in an email and also the procedure of applying it. So now it's the audience talk. So participants, whoever wants to share your valuable feedback, we very much appreciate it. So whoever interested to share their feedback on this particular session, please feel free to ping Saujanya so that she can assign the unmute rights to you all so that you can unmute yourself and speak. Or else you can ping it in chat. So it's for all, anybody who wants to share their feedback. It's actually really helps us, it's like help me help you. Yes, Shiva, you can recommend being a chapter member. You can reach out to me in the network meeting network activity post the session. I will explain you more on it. So guys, yeah, so anybody wants to share their feedback on the session, please feel free. Just ping Saujanya. Anybody?
I think Seshu people are putting it in chat, I think, the comments. We have to announce for the next activity and how it would be. So
right. All right, great. So yeah, let's move on to the next slide. So guys, the next activity is about the networking, which we all wait for, right? So guys, it's already been a long time that we connected with each other, and now that gap has been filled with wonderful app that is called as a Wonder app. So that link also would be shared here in the chat. And I request everybody to just click on that link and fill in your details. First, it would ask for your name there, and after that, it will ask for you to upload your picture. It's not like uploading the picture exactly. It's like you just have to click on take, so it captures your picture there. So it's similar to the networking which happens in our regular conferences. Like how would we meet our peers in dinner or lunch? It's just the difference is we do not have food to be served, but yeah, we can still connect with all our members here, whoever is present. It's just that once you log into it, it will show up as a bubble. You just have to scroll your bubble towards the peer bubble so that it auto enables the video there and you all can talk to each other. So guys, it's similar to the conference networking. So please feel free, please log into it and let's connect there. And it's like branding ourselves. So no need to be so professional there. You can talk anything you all want to your peers. You can share your contacts, whatever it is. So that is the main roof for us to mingle with each other and share our thoughts or knowledge or ideas, whatever it is. So let's meet up there. And before we go, we have a word of thanks. So I guess people are logging into the network.
Thank you. Suresh Babu would like to speak. I'm moving him to the panelist.
Yeah, great.
Suresh, you can speak now.
Suresh, did you get the option to unmute yourself?
Yeah. Thank you, Seshu. Thank you, Saujanya. Since you gave opportunity for audience to speak out, I was trying to unmute and it was muted at your end. I requested. First of all, I would like to thank the chapter Yes, I've been attending various meetings for all almost, several years, but recently, the virtual meetings we have been conducting, frequent virtual meetings for almost nearly now it is 9-10 months. Okay, so every time, I think your contribution, from the different volunteers has been phenomenal. You people are trying to change the format and think innovatively, try to do different things and make the chapter meetings interesting. That's why even on a Saturday also we are spending more than 2 to 3 hours kind of thing. I can very well imagine the kind of work which goes behind the scheduling this kind of 3-hour event. A lot of coordination and efforts would be needed from the board members and the office bearers. Okay, I just wanted to thank you people for the excellent session you are coordinating and doing. Thank you, all the members. Thank you, chapter, actually.
Thank you, Suresh. Thanks for that wonderful feedback. Do we have anybody else?
Let's continue, Seshu. I think we're running out of time for networking.
All right. So let's move on to the next slide as a word of thanks. And yes, I guess after doling up so many things and after the contribution from so many volunteers, yes, thanks a lot. And thanks to Banta here. So I request Kamil Mroz for giving the word of thanks. And she is the General Secretary for the chapter. And she carries a 15 years of experience in IT industry with a special focus on leading and managing projects for operation excellence, process improvements and CMMI, and also having 12 years of experience volunteering and leading initiatives for PMI. And she's also a chairperson for PMI Region 11 Women Engagement Committee for Empower Women in Project Management. So Kamil, I welcome you to share the word of thanks to the team.
Thank you, Seshu. Good afternoon to all. It's so good to meet and greet all our members joining us today, especially the first-time attendees. 2021 has been a milestone year for PMIPCC, and we are in our 2 decades of proven history where various innovative and impacting initiatives were being driven by our chapter. I feel really honored to be part of this vibrant community for the last 12 years, both as a member and as a volunteer. The diverse opportunities and privileges of this association has actually helped me build a strong professional network and has helped me sharpen my leadership skills. Today, as a General Secretary of our chapter, with great sense of pride, I present the closing remarks. Firstly, I would like to thank our chapter members for taking out time today on a Saturday morning to join the first network meeting of 2021 in a new and interactive format. Thank you, members, for making our chapter the second largest chapter in our country. We now have a 1,300 plus strong extended family. We continue to look forward to interacting with you in the remainder of the year. Today, we are fortunate to have PMI Future 50 honoree among us. Firstly, congrats to Kamil on a well-received recognition for all his contributions. And secondly, thank you for agreeing to take the center stage today. Thank you for your insights on navigating change and transforming from a project manager to a future project leader, and highlighting the need for EQ and IQ. These learnings will definitely help us pivot around and launch us to the next orbit. Thank you, Kamil, for an interactive session. For the first time in this year, we also heard from our members. Thank you, Roshan, for bringing your thoughts onto the table on how to move together in future. Together was the key here. Thank you for highlighting that. Our chapter has always been providing a unique platform for learning, for knowledge sharing, networking, and volunteering. Volunteers have spent a significant amount of effort in preparing and hosting today's event. Sheshu Gandhi, thank you for anchoring today's event. Shravanti and Lata, thank you for supporting today's event. Hope you all enjoyed this experience. A big thank you to all the volunteers from our chapter communications team. Thank you, Mohammed Abdul, Varun Agarwal, and Ricky Mohanty, for all your relentless efforts to drive yet another successful event. And of course, finally, thank you to my fellow chapter leaders for their efforts. Each portfolio lead very passionately drives initiatives and delivers values to our members. Thank you, Saujanya, Sita, Sairam, Suma, Manohar, Monica, Bhaskar, Venkat, and Madhav for your continued significant contributions. Here I should definitely mention a special thanks to Saujanya and Monica for conceptualizing today's event. We are all eager to listen to the voice of our members. It helps us align our initiatives and offerings. So please feel free to reach out to any of the board anytime for any feedback or support. As we continue on our journey to upskill the PM community and live up to the reputation of being a vibrant chapter, I seek your continued active participation in all our events and initiatives. I also urge you to explore volunteering for our chapter and community. Do join our exciting domain-specific ISG for a rewarding knowledge sharing. Thank you once again for joining us today. Hope you enjoyed the wonderful learning experience and look forward to seeing you all on the Wonder app. Best wishes for the remainder of the year. Stay healthy, stay best. Thank you. Over to you, Sheshu.
Thank you, Komal. Thank you for the closing remarks. And here we are at the end of yet another session, that is a network. So guys, I request everybody to please go ahead and click on the link and log into the Wonder app so that we can all meet together and talk together. So that is a place, as I told, brand yourself, guys, as I do. Like, Seju is not a name, it's a brand. That is my tagline. So please feel free to reach out to me too in the networking session. So I'll be in the volunteering booth. So please connect to me there. And in case of any questions of how to connect to the app or any technical issues, please reach out to us. Please ping us. We will help you in it. And thank you all again. Thank you for all the stakeholders, the PMI community, for joining us today and making this event a successful one. And you will all be receiving a post-session mailer regarding the PDUs and also with the recording links. This session would be also been added to the YouTube, where you all can just go there and serve whenever you want. And do share us the feedback on the network sessions, because it helps us to enrich ourselves and make continuous improvements in our sessions going forward. So stay safe, guys, and let's catch up in the network meeting. So in case of any questions or technical glitch, please feel free to ping us here. Over to you, Saujanya or Monica.
Yeah, thank you very much, Seju. I request all the participants to use the link and join Wonder app. Let me know any difficulties. Just click on the link. You have a left side, there is a zoom out, and your bubble will be there. Just move to the respective rooms and join with your peers. The bubbles will be there.
I still see a few of them yet to join. So guys, please switch to the Wonder app. Let's catch up there and have some fun, guys. Y'all can be completely unprofessional there, no worries. Just be as how you will be in the conference, dinner or lunch meetings, how you meet your peers, introduce yourself and talk together. Hi, Roshan. Okay, so Roshan, are you able to hear me now? All right.
You are on WebEx.
Okay, let me just disconnect from WebEx. I have to leave the meeting, right?
Yeah.
Yep. So participants soon will catch up in the Wonder app. Let's go there. Bye-bye.
52 attendees are still in the WebEx. Hello? Yes?
Share the web link. Hello? Yeah, share the link of Wonder, no?
The
Share
chat.
the link of Wonder. Yeah, again?
Who is this? Hello? Yes? Seshu? You disconnect the WebEx and go to Wonder app. No, I think you log into 2 devices, right? In the Wonder app, you are with me. You leave the bubble. You leave the bubble. You are bubble. You leave the bubble. Mr. Srinivas, Rajendra, Bhaskar Rao Talla, Chaitanya, Surya Gudala. Can you leave the WebEx and go to Wonder app? Let me know if you have any difficulties. Please ping me on the chat. I'm sharing the link once again. Just click on that link and you can join the Wonder. Rakesh, hope you could able to join Wonder. Yes, Fanindra, you can leave the WebEx and join at Wonder app. You can join through mobile app also, Sivaprasad. Lakshmi Narayana, Surya Gudala, Venugopal Rao, Vichari, Vijay Vemana. Are you guys able to log into the Wonder app or any problem? Still I can see 22 participants, the WebEx. Ratnalikita, you have an issue joining OneDrive? May I know what was the issue? Just click on the app, that link. I shared on the WhatsApp group also, the Telegram. You can even click from your mobiles. I just shared the link in our Telegram group and also WhatsApp group, volunteer WhatsApp group. Ratnalikita, can you try once again and reach to the any bubble after allowing? Thank you. Still 15 more attendees. Any difficulty, please ping me. Girish Nalla, you can log off from the WebEx, you are there on the Wander. I invited you to the group also. Conversation started at Wander. Doesn't work, unfortunately. Nikita? Please visit Academy, volunteer, different rooms are there. You can log off from the WebEx. That was great, Likita, finally. Thank you. So I'm ending the WebEx. Anybody has any problem, kindly reach me directly. Thank you.